Hello, I recently came across this pen, and if you haven't seen it so far, check it out because the code is actually pretty damn clever. But what I want to show you today is how to reproduce this using only form elements. So let's get started. First off, we have an input. So input, and this is going to have an ID, search button, let's say, and it's going to be a checkbox. Now we take this ID and we use it for a label. So label show search bar. Okay, now that I've done this, I'll have another input, except this is going to be my search bar, and the type is going to be text, and it also has a placeholder. I believe that said search. Okay, now this is it for the structure. Let's move on to the styling. And the first thing we do is just a bit of layout. So body, display flex, align item center, justify content center. I don't know why I did flex start there. Okay, so having done this, we want to have everything in the middle. So let's give this full height. Okay, now we have a scroll bar, so let's get rid of it. So we have something like a reset, but it's not really a reset. Well, yeah, sort of reset. So having done this, let's have box sizing, border box. Let's reset the padding as well, and as for the font, let's make it inherit, which it does for most elements except form elements. Now let's also do this for pseudo elements, before and after. Okay, now I can just collapse this, and let's move on to the rest. So ID search button. So for my search button, I absolutely position it and I move it out of sight. Okay, viewport width, this should move it out. Now, having done this, I'll take the label. So this is going to be with a for attribute. Okay, now for my label, I want to take the text out, so move it out of sight as well. But, for, that's what was wrong. Okay, now we can't see it anymore, so let's give it some dimensions. So button dimension, this is going to be the diameter, and let's set this to the width. So button diameter, and the same for the height. Okay, let's give it a background so that we can see it. And this is going to be my background. Let's also make it round. That's going to be a border radius 50%. Let's move it after the search bar, and we do this with order. Okay, now having done this, let's move on to styling the search bar a bit. So I'm going to have for the text width, so this is going to be my text input width, and that's going to be 4 times the button diameter. Okay, for the text height, we have, let's say, 0.65 the button diameter. And having done this, let's set the styles for the bar. So this is going to be bar, not button. So the width and the height. Okay. Having done this, let's give it a background. So now I have a background. Let's also give it a color. Okay, let's get rid of the border. Border none. Let's set a border radius, which we set it equal to height, even though it's actually half the height, but it doesn't really matter. Now we want this part to be hidden behind that, so we'll be setting a margin, and this margin is going to be a quarter of that button width. So our margin in this case is going to be margin left. Button diameter. Yeah, that's not going to work. Okay, having done this, I have the margin right for the bar. Okay, and one more thing I want here, just set a proper dark background so I have better contrast there. Okay, now that I've done this, I can just collapse it. And as you can see, this is open, but that's not the initial state I want. So I'll be setting a transform for my search button, and this is going to be -half the text bar width. So and I'll be having pretty much the same for the bar itself, except it's going to be with plus. Oh, yeah, I need to end the line. Okay, and that moves it, but it doesn't hide it. In order to hide it, I'll be using clip path, and this is going to be inset 0, 100%, 0, 0. Okay, having done this, I'll be setting the checked state. So checked and what I'll be doing here is zeroing these translations and this right inset. So the way I'll be doing this is just select all these three, and these are going to be different defaults for a position, which I set here to 0. Okay, so now when I click this, it expands. Okay, that's just great. Now something else I want to do here is have a multiplier I, and this is going to be position with a value of 1. Now that I've done this, I think I can just collapse this right here, and here for the background I'll be having an HSL value. So let's just take this HSL value from here. Hard to notice where I am with the cursor. So take this and put it there. So what I'll be having here is a calc. what I want is this value right here minus the difference. So I'll be having 336 minus the multiplier I. So this should change, and it does, as you can see. But I also have a bit of a different saturation and lightness as well. So let's see, 79 with respect to 77. So I need to add 2. Sorry about that. So here, calc, and it's 77. So and then there's always the lightness. So this is going to be calc 49 plus so this should do it. Okay, this looks good. Now let's also set cursor pointer. Okay, this is starting to look a lot better. Let's also set something. I think I can just collapse that one. Let's set an animation duration, let's say. Let's make it a bit longer. Okay. And let's set here transition ease out, and here transition okay. So let's see how this works. Okay, it works really nice actually. As you can see, it's all very smooth. That's great. Now something else we want to do is actually put that magnifier and the X right there. So let's create those with pseudo elements. So we have before and after, and they're both absolutely positioned, which means we need to position this relatively. They both have empty content. We both positioned from the middle. Okay, and let's give them some dimensions. So we have a magnifier diameter, and this is going to be, let's say, half the height of the bar, and we have a magnifier factor. This is going to be something like this, and then we have a magnifier width. This is going to be my factor times the diameter. Okay, now having done this, let's set some dimensions here. So with the magnifier diameter, we do the same for height. So height, we want stuff to be in the middle, so we set a negative margin of -half. So now let's make them actually visible. So for the before, we just set a background. And let's make this actually current color. And let's give this height magnifier width, which sounds strange, but yeah, maybe I should have called it thickness or something. Not really sure about that. Maybe I should have left it thicker. Seriously. No, that's just too thick. Seriously? Okay, I'll be leaving it at this. So now that I've done this, let's also fix the margin top. This is going to be -half the magnifier width. Okay, now it's right in the middle. Now for my after, I have border, and this is going to be solid, and then I have my magnifier width and current color. So yeah, this does it. And I also want to have border radius 50% to make it round. Okay. Now something else I want to do here, I want to add a rotation. Rotate 45 degrees. Okay, so this does it. Now I want to add some transforms here. So for my before, I'll have a transform, translate, and this is going to be a quarter of the magnifier diameter. Now I'll be having pretty much the same for the after, except this is going to be with a minus. And here I also want to set transform origin 100%, and then it doesn't really matter. Here I want to have scale X. That's 0.5. So yeah, this should do it, and it does, as you can see. Now I want to change this magnifier into an X when I open this. So the way that I do this is take this, because I'll get rid of the position. Okay. And use the position. So now when I open it, it's all positioned in the middle. Now let's see what we do about this scale right here. Now this we want to be 1 when it's open and 0.5 when it's closed. So let's see. We have calc 1 minus, and we use that I multiplier. So this should do it. Yeah. One more thing I want to set here is transition inherit. Now having done this, this should transition nicely. But I don't want a circle for the after. So I'll be setting a scale on it as well. So here I'll have a scale X as well. And this is going to be my magnifying factor. Okay. And that's actually good. I'll be leaving it at that. And I want this magnifying factor to be as it is there for the position being 0 or the multiplier being 0. So that's going to be 1 minus that multiplier, and I want it to be 1 otherwise. So Oh yeah, that's inside the calc. Sorry, calc. Okay, so it's, yeah, so in this other case, when should be like this. So yeah, that works, but then I need to fix my border radius. So I use a calc and the multiplier. So this is for when it's closed. Or it's actually the other way around. No, it's not M, it's I, sorry about that. So yeah, that works, fixes the border radius. Now, I just don't want it to be unfilled, and I'll be doing the fill with a box shadow, so with an inset box shadow. The offsets are both going to be 0, and the blur is also going to be 0, and we'll be using current color, and how much this spreads is going to be calc half the magnifier diameter. So it's actually 1 minus I, sorry. Okay, so now when I do this, okay, so yeah, that works right there. One more thing I wanted to set here. So when I set this I right here, I want to also set a J, and this is calc 1 minus I. Now, having done this, I can just replace. So where I have 1 minus I can replace with J. Like, for example, right here, J, and here I can replace with J as well. Okay. So now it looks pretty good, but something else I want to do here on the after. Let's set a transform property and its border radius transform box shadow. Okay, and having done this, I want to change the timing function. So I'll be setting, first off, transition timing function. Let's see. It works good for the return, but not for. So let's see. These functions are some cubic-bezier functions. Let's change this. Switch a bit, and let's see. Our ease out. Oh, come on. this is my ease out. Let's switch to this. These are my values. Next, if I want to have ease in, I'll be having somewhat different values. So yeah, let's see them and let's see how we can switch them up with that eye. So first off, this first value right here, this is going to be a calc, and it's obviously I times this, and the other one is going to be j times the same. Okay, that one is always 0, and here I have 1 minus this. So it's basically this. So if I want to have 1 minus, and the other one is going to be 1 minus j. Okay. So let's see how this works. Well, it's a lot better. Very much better. Okay, so now I'm done with all this switching. Let's prettify a bit the search bar and set another style for focus and stuff like that. So outline none. Let's get rid of that because it's ugly. Let's use this. It's static, so we'll be using it like that. So if it's focused, we give it a background. Okay. Color is going to go to black. So let's see. That looks pretty good actually. We'll be setting a few stars for the placeholder as well, but otherwise it all looks pretty good. We'll be setting a padding on the actual search bar just to make sure it all looks nice. So set that padding, and then we'll be setting a box shadow when it gets focused. So the text doesn't start right from the edge. That's nice. Next thing I want for my placeholder, I want to have opacity. Okay. Having done this, I'll be setting a smaller font size and just set a little bit of a text shadow to make it a bit blurry and space up its letters. And yeah, I think that should do it. So letter spacing. Text shadow. Should I offset this a little bit? No, just leave it like that. No offset, just a bit of a blurriness. This should make the placeholder a bit blurry. For some reason it doesn't seem to work. Okay. Let's set a box shadow here. So first off, this is going to have no offsets. It's going to have pretty big blur. So let's see. Okay, and the blur just gets cut out. Now, yeah, let's take care of that. It gets cut out by the clip path. That's the whole deal. Okay, this looks nice when I'm typing. I should probably change the font or something to something nicer. So let's see. Okay, this, I still don't get why the text shadow doesn't work. Text shadow. Yeah, for some reason the text shadow doesn't show, and I have no idea why the text shadow doesn't show on the placeholder. That's just completely weird. Oh, it does show like if I do it like this. So let's undo everything. And like this, it's a totally different deal. And I think I can get rid of the last one, so it's not so exaggerated, the blurry effect. Okay, that looks nice. Maybe add a bit more of a darker shadow underneath. Let's see how that works out. I think that's way too small. That's way too small. Let's make it a lot bigger. And see how that looks. Okay. Not really sure about it, but okay. So yeah, I'll be leaving it at this. It's actually kind of fun to keep playing with it, but I'll be stopping now. This is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have and you want me to be able to do more stuff in the future, please consider supporting my work. You can do this by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon. The link is in the description. Or you can make this kitty very happy by getting her something off her Amazon wishlist. Again, the links are going to be in the description, where you'll also find a link to this demo, a link to the demo that inspired it, and some other stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching.